broadcasting alive from the Green Room Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the At Home Show with Josh Carey and David Bates, celebrating 25 years of home and garden wisdom. Without further ado, your hosts, Josh Carey and David Bates.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning. It's time for the tradition that is the At Home Show.
Indeed.
Good morning, everybody. As you noticed, David Bates is not in attendance again this morning, but he will be back next Saturday morning, as will Randall Lance from the Nashville Lawn and Garden Show be in here.
Very nice.
But until then, Adam's in building.
Just have to deal with me
Well,
one more time.
Well, no, it's not one more time. It's just another time.
Another time.
Until the next time.
Till the next time. That's true.
Which there will be a next time.
There will be. Vacations happen. People get sick. It does happen. So, well, what are we here for? We're here to talk about landscaping and home improvement products and issues. If you got a problem, if it's cold at your house, you might have a problem. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. We'll see. You can call us.
I would think it depends on where you are on your property right now. If it's cold.
Well, if you're in bed.
Maybe you got stuck outside, taking the trash out, locked yourself out.
Ooh, that's
in your
happened.
pajamas. It's not good.
No. And your slippers. And
exactly.
And there's enough frost on the grass that get your slippers wet, everything like that.
It makes your slippers slippery?
Slickery is what we say. Okay, slickery.
I locked my girlfriend out in the cold one time. It
On
was
purpose?
terrible. She went, no.
Oh.
She went over to our neighbors and had to chill with them for a minute until I got back. And her phone was inside, so she called me.
Wow.
From the neighbors. Yeah.
What did she call you when she
Pretty
called?
bad.
Oh, okay. She called you several things? Or
Yeah, I don't think you can say
she
it over
called
the
me
radio.
more than just on the phone, yes.
I see.
I think the FCC would frown on.
Never happened since.
Hey, we're on cable now, so I mean
That's true.
We can
That's
do
true.
whatever we want
That's
to.
true.
But we're here for you. Hey, go out on all the social media platforms. Watch us on Facebook Live. Go out to YouTube. Hey, if you're on Twitter, you can get a link right there as well. Instagram is always hot, and we know we've got questions coming in from there. And you can interact alive on the Facebook pages, and we'll see you. Tyler's watching YouTube, so if you've got some interaction there, you can do that as well. Hey, but as I mentioned, it's a little chilly out there.
A little
Adam.
chilly. It was 19 at my house in Springfield this morning when I got in the car. And about the same temperature here. It's warmed up a bit since the sun's come up, and it's going to be a beautiful day. And tomorrow as well. Very sunny. Warming up to the mid-50s today, mid-60s tomorrow. Got some rain coming in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Boy, we need some. Man.
Thursday looks good, and then next weekend is overcast and rainy, but that's a week away, so we'll see what happens.
Nah. Well, after about Thursday. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
But the spring is coming, folks.
Yes.
It's going to be here before we know it.
It almost looks like it's here right
Who's
now.
that we hear? Oh, my goodness gracious. Is that Caroline?
Who is it?
That's Caroline and Austin are over there.
hiding behind a philodendron.
Hi. There's a big leaf in front of my face. I'm going to readjust. Good morning,
packed
though.
You're
in
doing
today.
a terrible job. Okay.
Thanks.
You're doing okay.
Okay. Better.
We'll
There you
figure,
go.
We'll figure
All
it
good?
out on this end. We'll get that face framed momentarily.
We're here.
We are here. We're here and we're doing things.
Answering questions, maybe?
Oh, we got a lot of questions today.
How many?
Bookoodles.
55.
Is it one bookoodle or
55.
what is the exact number? What is a
don't
bookoodle?
have-
I think it's like deer. I don't know if you can actually have deers. So maybe I
Right.
misspoke and said bookoodles. So
Last I heard, we have at least 18.
We
so-
have 18 on my end,
Okay.
and I'm ready to get started whenever y'all are.
well, go ahead, dear.
All right, let's dive in. You know, I said I was ready. Oh, Tyler's camera on. Okay, what likes to grow between stones and a garden path? I've got some sedum.
I think it would-
Is this a riddle?
Yeah, sedum's good if you got a lot of sun, and then
I try not to step on it though, because it does get injured pretty easily. At least the one I have.
Yeah, but also woolly thyme or red thyme, red living thyme. Is
I've seen mondo
creeping
grass
down.
used as well.
in the shade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that would be a good one.
Yeah, there's like a whole collection of like what we call or what they brand as like steppables. And it comes in like little flats so where you can just like plug them into those spots, and they're ones that you can like step on and not get injured all that bad. But like Caroline said, sedum is one of those that is great for that application, but you don't really want to step on them because they break.
Yes, they do. Mine looks really healthy right now, despite all of. Yeah, I was weeding my garden bed like 3 days ago, and that one surprisingly looks great and fine. Living her best life.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, sedum is literally named stone crop.
Yep.
So,
Well, the thing
planted
is,
between stones.
the thing is, even if you break it, the pieces, if they land on dirt, they're going to root in there.
reroot, yeah. That's a good point.
it will take over. Okay. Y'all ready for a blueberry question? I know Adam is.
Adam
was-
is.
I was born ready.
Born ready for that blueberry question. Okay, when is a good time to fertilize blueberry bushes, and which one is best to use?
Well, fertilizing you can start right now, especially if you're using holly tone, which is what I usually use. But anything that has a higher percentage of sulfur, because it's going to help to lower the pH of the soil. Blueberries love an extremely acidic soil compared to other plants.
Down to even like 4.5 pH,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
I mean, from like 4.5 to 5 is kind of where they want to be, which is low.
Yeah, and our native soils are usually, actually, because of the limestone prevalence, usually is around neutral here. So maybe just slightly acidic, depending on where you are. But so for blueberries, you're definitely going to need to.
Can you overdo it?
With holly tone, you almost can't because it's organically derived. But obviously, you want to follow the directions on the bag. So. But you could do it again in the fall if you wanted to. You could certainly with holly tone, especially.
It being natural, it doesn't have the what do they call it, retention rate or
Right, and you're not losing a
Residuals.
lot of stuff because it with those Espoma products and all organic fertilizers really. You have to have action in the soil to break it down, and that's what releases the nutrients. It's not just in a chemical form like Osmocote or whatever that can actually get washed out of the soil and into the groundwater. So,
use the good stuff.
That's right. How many blueberry plants do you have, Adam?
7 or 8 at least. Wow. And probably not that many varieties too.
They're cool plants. My
they're
mom
awesome.
dug one up out of her garden, put it in a pot about 5 years ago and gave it to me, and it's still sitting on my driveway in a shady spot, and it fruits every year.
Yeah. Well, that's
crazy.
what a lot of people, they will grow in the shade, and actually in nature, they usually grow in shadier spots in mountains, usually up in East Tennessee. You don't see them a whole lot here natively, but
There are a lot of trees in Maine, and they grow a bunch of them up there as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're fine with the go. And we got 43-gallon blueberries in yesterday.
Yes.
So
I was thinking 43-gallon pots, and I was like, whoa.
not
That's
that
a
big.
big old blueberry plant.
That's a big blueberry plant. I don't think that would.
So did we talk about which one was the best to use? Or is that the fertilizer?
I think they are talking about fertilizer.
Yeah.
That would be
okay.
my guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought they
Pollinator.
were talking about cultivar.
Okay, well, what is your favorite cultivar then? Let's go ahead and go down that path.
Me?
Yeah,
You
you're the
asking me?
blueberry master.
Well, I'd say for modern gardens, the southern high bush varieties like Sunshine Blue are really perfect because they only get about, I've had mine for 15 years now and never really pruned it much. And it's 4 foot tall, 4x4.
That's
But
cool.
the other varieties like, what are they called, Austin? The other ones?
like the Climax or
Yeah,
Brightwell.
yeah,
and
yeah.
those, like,
So those get huge.
the high
They can-
bush, yeah.
Yeah, they can get 8 to 10 foot tall.
They do too.
I have a Tiff Blue, and I have to prune that one all the time because
Yeah.
it's wanting to get huge.
Now they have different sizes on the berries as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. But that's what I like about Sunshine Blue. It's still a fairly big berry on it.
Okay.
It's really, and very, very productive. So
I need to plant some. And that one that has been sitting on my driveway.
Probably,
So, Mom,
yeah.
it's still alive. You're watching this morning. Okay, we've got a crepe myrtle question in.
Okay.
When to transplant creeping myrtle? I think they mean crepe myrtle. And maiden grass.
Well, what a good question.
Creeping myrtle. I like
Well,
that.
Creeping
I mean,
myrtle, surely they
you
creep myrtle.
usually when you want to transplant when things are dormant. So I mean,
Don't wait.
Nope.
Yeah, I would go ahead and do it if you're going to do it.
Yeah, right now, today.
Right now is fine.
Do
today.
it today.
Do it at 3:30.
Yeah.
Come on,
You
everybody.
know, maiden grass, the grasses specifically are hard to dig. They've got a really extensive root system, so make sure you get as much as you can on that. And it's going to work you. Crape myrtles are the same way. They've really got some major roots.
And they're pretty shallow too.
Yeah,
so.
they are, but they're like real woody. They're hard to, even when you prune them, they're kind of hard to cut because their wood is so hard.
Wow.
So get ready to work, but it can certainly be done, and it needs to be done now. It needs to be done before they wake up in the spring. That's the key. Yep.
I tried to just dig up maiden grass once because I planted it in a terrible spot. And yeah, it was a lot of digging. I was
It's hard.
not so pleasantly surprised by it. Yeah, put me to work.
I bet you didn't do that again.
No, I never planted it again, and I never will.
I don't like maiden grass all that much.
Yeah, I'm not
What's the
the
matter
biggest
with
fan.
maiden grass?
It's not my favorite. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't like
okay.
I don't like fat grasses like that. I don't know.
I'm more partial to northwind switchgrass.
Oh, me too.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
me
table
too.
over here. Yeah, we both have it. Mm-hmm. Mine looks I mean, it's clearly not alive what's up on top of the ground right now, but it looks amazing. And it blows in the wind. Looks a little bit spooky, makes some noises.
Makes noise.
Well, it's
Sounds like corn.
let's talk about corn. Someone over here loves corn.
Corn is just a grass.
Corn is just a grass.
Is it as pretty as the muhly grass?
That is
gosh.
relative.
Okay.
Now it lives better than muhly grass.
Yes.
I'll give you
Yes.
that. But when muhly grass is good, muhly grass is great. I will say that. I mean, when it's blowing pink in the breeze or white, either variety, they're really, really pretty. But totally different growth form in general. I mean,
Okay.
totally different. Muhly's much shorter
Yeah.
and fatter, and it kind of flops a little sometimes.
Yeah, you want to have muhly grass, ideally multiple ones planted together.
like on top of each other
Yeah,
almost,
so
like
they'll
really
support
close
each
to-
other.
Uh-huh.
There's
Switchgrass is fine alone.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I was going to say there's some landscaping across the street from the Walmart on Dickerson Pike that has a lot of muhly grass in it, and it looks really good.
Yes.
It's on a big old slope, and it's just full.
But
And
they-
that's kind of the only time I've ever seen it that I'm like, oh, wow, I would do that again.
Yeah,
But I
because they
wouldn't.
put it tight. They
Yeah.
planted it tight, and that's how you have to do it. Switchgrass is a standalone if it needs to be. It still looks better in mass, I think, especially like rain garden areas. That's becoming very popular in Nashville. If you need rain garden plants,
Well, it's becoming
switchgrass.
popular because it's become
Code.
mandated. by
Yes,
code.
exactly.
Yep.
So, yeah, good one to use for that.
Yeah.
That's subsection 3 on page
Yes.
912.
Yes, I believe so.
Switchgrass must be used in.
In your mandated rain garden.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's true.
That's how Bradford pears got started.
Oh, no.
God, you
Well, let's
love
move
Bradford
on.
Because the Great
This
White
is a
Plague.
much better option.
Yeah, the Great White Plague is going to be upon us.
Very soon.
Oh, no.
It's going to be a banner
all
year
those
for it.
all those calorie pears and
Well, speaking of things that
out.
bloom, y'all, let's get a blooming question in.
Blooming.
Kind of. It's got the name
Was
or
that
the
were
word
you-
in
Get
it.
a blooming
I was going to say,
question.
were you cussing over there?
Was I?
Let's get a blooming
No,
question in.
I would never. Can I plant annuals on top of perennial bulbs that only bloom in the spring?
What a great
I
question.
thought of you when I saw this
This is a
question.
good
It's a very good question. Yes, and yes, you can do that, and I recommend you do that for sure. Bulbs are going to come up through your annuals. Most of the time, your bulbs are going to bloom in the spring. We're spring blooming bulbs anyway, and the use of pansies over top of your perennial bulbs is certainly a good application.
Are we talking specifically like narcissus and tulips? And,
Yeah, like daffodils and tulips, they're going to pop up through those pansies.
hyacinth.
Hyacinth, yes, grape hyacinths. They're beautiful in the spring. Crocus, I know our buddy Ben who works here is a big fan of his crocus bulbs, and yeah, they push through annuals just fine. And like I said, we typically use pansies for this because those are honestly the only like annual flower that you're going to have at that
Maybe
point in the season.
snapdragons.
Yeah, you can do
maybe.
snapdragons maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, they're going to push up through them, and it looks so good. Me and Caroline were just talking. She's got tulips popping up through her pansies. I've got tulips popping up through my pansies, and I am.
Those pansies are dead, though, from that freeze.
Mine aren't. I got them
Yeah,
in the ground.
Mine were in a pot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Mine
in a
are
pot,
in the
they're
ground, and they're blooming right now. I mean, they were blooming this morning when I left.
Mine in the ground are blooming, but they don't have any bulbs underneath. But yeah, my tulips are inches high right now. I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, tulips are up.
Tulips.
Daffodils are in full show.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're looking gorgeous.
Mid-February.
The wood lines all around town look amazing.
full show daffodils in mid-February.
They call them ditch flowers.
Ditch
Nah, you're thinking
flowers.
about. I think you're thinking about ditch lilies, maybe.
Ditch lilies.
Them old orange day lilies that grow.
Yeah, that's the native. That's the native one.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love them. A lot of people don't.
No.
I'm a fan. Well, you don't have to agree on everything. So let's talk fiddly fig, y'all.
Oh.
Oh,
Here
boy.
it is. My indoor fiddly fig is dropping leaves. How do I make it stop? Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Leaf it alone.
Leave
Yeah.
leave that fiddly fig alone. They are a plant that I find thrives on neglect, like a lot of plants. So the more you just put it in a spot that doesn't have a lot of drafts and has plenty of sunlight, and just don't bother it. I water mine once every 3 weeks to once a month right now. I let it sit dry for quite a while before I water it, and it's really, really happy. I don't mess with it. I don't mist it. And I would say your biggest downfall with the leaf drop is either going to be a watering issue or a draft. I've had a lot of people emailing here at the nursery or coming in with problems with their fiddly figs, and I would say about 60% of the time it's like under a vent that's in the ceiling or right over one on the floor. And I got a picture the other day, and it was this gorgeous fiddly fig that was very full, and the middle had just died. The whole branch, all the leaves had fallen off. I mean, it hadn't died, but all the leaves fell off and it looked dead. And in the picture, there was a vent right above that branch. And so it was not happy with that. So that could be your issue, and just watering. Whenever you water it, again, like I said, let it dry out completely and then thoroughly water it to where water runs out of the bottom of the pot. All the time I have people that are like, well, I give it half a cup every 2 days. Mm-hmm. For a plant that's in like a 3-gallon, 7-gallon pot, they can get huge. That water is not going to do anything. It's going to hit the top layer of the soil, and then it's going to evaporate immediately, especially right now with the heat on in your house. So you have to really thoroughly water it so it gets to all of its roots, and then it's going to be happy. But don't look at it, maybe don't even go in the same room as that fiddly fig for a little while.
Yeah, because even your passage through the air in that room will create a draft.
Will create a draft. That's right, Adam. Look at you catching on to houseplants. You love them.
Sometimes I learn a few things despite myself.
Mm-hmm. Fiddly figs are the worst.
They're not the worst. I love fiddly figs. What people have to know when we say, like, we need to let them dry out completely, we understand what that means, but a lot of people don't. So, you know what I've noticed the most about fiddly? When they need water, their leaves go this, like, pale color. You know what I'm saying?
They will go kind of a pale color, and they will droop. They'll be
the
like
topmost leaves will droop. Yes,
they look sad,
and they get off color. That's how you can tell when they're actually dry. And then, like Caroline said, you got to thoroughly soak them.
It takes it a long time to get there because they like to be dry.
They do.
Well, a lot of times what happens is, and people don't realize this, with potting soils, of course not ours, but even with Proganics Eye, it has coconut coir in it, but even if it had peat moss in it, when that gets dry, it gets really, really, it gets almost hydrophobic.
It's like a brick when it dries out. It's
right.
crazy.
So you really, really have to.
That's
allow
how
it to
That's
soak
how
in.
it comes to you guys. Is
Yeah,
in a
when you
compressed
get when you think
brick,
about it, when you get a brick of peat moss, you have to. It's completely compressed and completely dry.
Yeah.
And it just takes forever for it to start to take up water. But when it does, it stays there for a while.
Yeah.
Which is what they're saying. Like, you've got to let them dry out for plants like that. So
I was listening to a plant podcast while I was gardening the other day. I don't remember what it was called, so sorry everybody. But the whole episode was
Hope
about.
they don't think that
was
same
about
thing about
peat moss.
us, Caroline. Come on now.
They wouldn't. I'll remember. And
no, we're
come find me.
unforgettable.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
are very unforgettable. But yeah, it was fascinating. They talked about peat moss for like 30 minutes and all the things it does. So I get a lot of houseplants come in peat moss, and it can be frustrating. And also okay, because they'll sit pretty moist for a long time, and then it seems like all of a sudden they're just dry, and I have to let them soak in water.
Did they bring up
Get 'em
the
wet
fact that it is basically a non-renewable resource?
They did talk about that. Mm-hmm. They did.
The peat moss?
He had some feelings about coconut coir, though. So it was interesting. I don't remember the name of the podcast.
Well, thanks.
All right.
I could probably look it up right now.
That's okay.
Okay.
But speaking of coconut coir
Yes.
and peat moss and their drawbacks and benefits, if you need some Proganics Eye, which is the best potting soil around, in my opinion.
Yep.
It is made right here in Middle Tennessee.
Yes. That.
And it has coconut coir, no peat moss.
It's the beetles of the potting soil.
It is the beetles of the potting soil. And also has a nice dose of earthworm castings in it, which is amazing stuff.
Yes, it is.
Black gold, as they say. And then, vermiculite, perlite. It's a nice organic fertilizer. And you can...
Got them humates.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's good on cracker, too, by the way.
Correct.
Yes. If you can find it.
I haven't seen it in forever.
Oh, okay. So,
now, if you would like to find out if you're near a place that sells some Proganics Eye or any other EarthMix product,
right.
You can go to earthmix.net, go to Find EarthMix, click on that. It'll take you to a map showing everywhere you can get EarthMix. And that includes other products like our landscape blend, which is great for trees and shrubs, which is getting about that time, folks.
Yes, it is. If you want expanded shale products.
We got that, too. If you got some clay, you can get the
I've heard it's good
shale.
for slugs, too, if you put it like...
Well, I haven't heard that. But I have heard that you can use it to block voles if they're digging through your beds and eating all your roots and tubers.
Oh, that's sad. You
And
can also use it
supernatural, of
in your
course.
houseplants.
And yes, and also shout out to Supernatural, which is one of the best
Compost.
you're going to find anywhere. Very, very, it's a living compost. Inoculated with mycorrhizae, endo and ecto.
Yeah.
Like those big words.
Yes.
And it's getting about time to do. You got a raised bed that's been tired, or it's 2 years old or something. Hey, top dress that thing with some Supernatural. It's time. Get some nutrient back in there.
What about a new raised bed? What will you put in that?
Garden.
Just fill it with garden,
With
and
a
then
little
you can
garden,
still
plant
top
straight
it.
into it.
Yeah, plant straight into it.
I'm
Still
gonna
our
make a raised
bestseller.
bed.
I know.
You're judging me harshly for that.
So, if you need some good soil for any landscape project, indoor, outdoor, go to EarthMix.
Seed starting? Yeah.
Tyler wants to say something.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I'm looking at the camera and I've stopped typing.
Tyler Cam.
I'm doing a lot of typing this morning.
Go to the Tyler Cam.
So
Yes.
I touched EarthMix a lot yesterday
I did too. Yep.
because me and Caroline and Austin, we did some B-roll for a segment that will be airing on MPT. It's not really a segment. It's just a little stinger ad. But that soil is just such a joy to work with.
It smells so good.
It smells really good.
Man, it smells good.
You can use it. You could use it to draw in. We did lots of pouring. It pours really well. It packs really well. It's just, and I use it in everything that I have in my greenhouse and with all of my container plants and also my raised beds. So I have not been unconvinced by anything that EarthMix offers. It's all compelling.
Fantastic products. I use all of them.
So do
and I
I.
love them.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, let's do a question. Are you guys ready?
So ready.
Are you awake? Oh,
I was
Josh
born
is
ready.
Okay. Are green giants going to be okay? They all seem to be turning brown.
Well, it depends.
What about Sprout? Huh? Green Giant. His little buddy was
That's
Sprout.
true. We all forget about him.
Yeah, man. Got to worry
Well,
about
I didn't know
Sprout
there
more
was
than
more
the-
than
We
one.
can't forget about Sprout.
Huh?
Or,
I didn't know
but
there was more than one.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
You're not as old as I am.
I remember Sprout. If you did some watering, even if they were established, it was really dry. We had a couple of really, really dry spells last year, and arborvitaes are shallow rooted, so they are affected, even if they are established, been there 15, 20 years, they can be affected by dry spells, not even a technical drought. I don't actually think we were technically in a drought situation, but it was really close twice. And so I believe that the damage on those is predicated upon how well they went through those 2 dry periods.
And
So-
people forget that you look at that 15-foot tall plant and you say, oh, it's established. I don't need to give it
Right,
any water.
right.
Come on, man.
They learned this year. This summer
Yeah.
they learned with arborvitae that's
Yeah.
not always
Yes.
the case.
So I have some that are 16, 17 years old, and I watered them once during those 2 dry periods each time. And that was enough to get them through. And mine have the normal kind of bronzing on them. They don't have, I've seen a lot of arborvitaes that just look really, really brown and bronze. It's not good.
I've seen some of them that were crispy.
Yeah.
And that's not a good sign.
But
at all.
honestly, I think the ones that are crispy now were the ones that actually died because of the drought,
Yeah.
not because of the
Right.
cold.
Exactly, yeah. And it's good to note that all arborvitae does go bronze over the winter time. It doesn't even matter what winter it is. And this year was a little bit harsh, so they're a little bit more so this year. But they all go that bronze color.
Right.
But yeah, like Adam said, if they didn't succumb to the drought this summer, and they were still living through this cold, arborvitae's fine with cold. I mean, our cold didn't hurt them really. It turned them a little bit more so. So if they were alive going into the winter, then they're probably going to be just fine coming out of it. I
Okay.
think.
I agree.
We'll see.
And you
Also,
Go ahead, Tyler.
I guess we should probably make the distinction too. If you don't know what a green giant looks like, you might confuse it with a similar species that people use
Leyland
called
Cypress.
Leyland Cypress,
Ooh.
Yeah, and
which
Leyland
looks
Cypress got
even worse.
even
Yes.
worse.
And they look really brown, like chocolate brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think they're going to live despite the fact that I don't want them to. But I do not like I do not like Leylands.
Yeah.
They're
Sam,
just
I am.
not a great.
And
plant.
I'll say this is the way to identify green giant versus Leyland Cypress if you're not sure which one you're looking at. Leyland Cypress gets big even up top. Okay, so it's big at the base, but it also gets big up top. Whereas green giant arborvitae gets about 8 feet wide at the base, but it is a perfect triangle like to the top. So if you're having trouble identifying a couple different big ones, Leyland Cypress, like I said, gets way bigger all the way around rather than green giant.
it's a really broad,
It is.
big pyramidal
Evergreen.
shape. But then green giant is a very distinct, pointed.
It is.
pyramidal shape.
It's almost formal. Green
Yeah.
giant, it's almost a formal.
I've never
shape.
touched mine, and they look exactly the same.
Exactly.
Never
They
trimmed them.
keep that shape without having to do anything.
Gorgeous.
But like Tyler said, Leyland Cypress looks way worse than arborvitae does right now. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. There's a property I pass on my way here that probably has about 40 planted on either side of their house
Yeah.
and in front, and it looks terrible. I saw the poor homeowner out a couple weeks ago just staring up, just standing there.
Everybody's been doing that lately.
And they're huge. I mean,
Yeah.
they're really
What's going to be
mature.
really frustrating for that homeowner is it's going to be like every third one
Yeah.
is
Right,
going to die.
right.
So
I mean, it's like a really perfectly spaced, very straight line of these as privacy borders, and you might not have that good
or
privacy.
4 in a row in the line. And, it's
and then one down.
David would recommend that if that does happen, is to take one from the end and try to move it back into one of those spots,
Right.
and try to fill them in.
Oh, that would be
Hopefully not
hard.
full
it
size.
depends
Yeah,
on
you
how
gotta have-
big they are.
These are
Right.
huge.
Tree spade type of stuff. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to another question. I have a flower bed that is full of shallow tree roots. Any idea how to plant new shrubs?
With an axe and a pick and a
And work.
saw.
Yeah.
you
You're
get
not
those
gonna-
roots away from the house anyway.
You're not going to hurt that tree all that much by taking some of those roots out. But you're going to have to get those roots out. Let's just be honest. I mean, if you want to plant a new shrub, you got to make sure those things are out of your way. So, like Adam said, get an axe or get something to cut those roots away to where you can get down to actual soil, and then plant your shrubs.
A lot of times you'll have to bring in soil because there's so many roots in there. There's not much soil left. so.
Exactly. But it's not that hard, although it is work. I mean, landscaping is like the hardest thing you can do as a profession. It literally is extremely hard work, no matter how you do it. So, but it can be done. It's just gotta
Yeah,
go all in.
I've got a designated set of pruners that I keep just for that reason,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you go down there with your good ones and you're just
You're gonna get dirt and stuff all
and you're
over.
going to ruin
Yep.
them. So
Yep.
just keep a scuzzy pair or a cheap pair in the pouch and use it for that purpose too.
Yep. I created a garden bed, flower bed,
You
a
did?
plant bed under a tree canopy with a lot of roots, and It was hard, and it still doesn't look great.
You know, the coolest thing that you want to see in Smyrna, Tennessee, there is a flower bed. There is a headboard, there a wrought iron headboard and a wrought iron footboard.
Oh, a bed,
and it is
yes, a bed.
planted.
I've seen a couple of those before.
Amazing.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, going back to what Caroline, I have a point here. When you plant under established trees, they are going to win every time for water and nutrients.
Yeah, my ostrich fern
And
died
sunshine.
immediately. The hellebore is
Yes.
doing great. It looks gorgeous, and it's
So
hopefully in
you're already
500 years
you're
it'll
already
take over.
under the gun when you plant under an established tree. You're already, so you really have to be vigilant and create as big a hole as you can for that new plant because the tree is going to get what it wants first.
Yes.
Yeah, I did this before I worked here. Those plants did not come from Bates Nursery and Garden Center. I'm not going to tell you where they came from. Okay. Let's talk
I
about...
bet you they came from the food line in Ashland City.
They did. How did you know it came from the food line in Ashland City? Let's talk
Just
about the food
just
line
a
in Ashland
guess.
City again. Just
Now,
shout
see,
out to my favorite
you
grocery
purchase
store.
a plant and you at a nursery. You rescue a plant from
the
a
food line.
non-traditional plant
Yes,
provider.
that's true. I don't know, but when I was there the other day and we were talking about them, their plants for now looked really good. That was last week. They might look a little bit bad now. Someone's got to go rescue those braided tree form azaleas that were in full bloom. Only $30 at the food line in Ashland City. Okay,
Hey,
we have
you know what?
How much are eggs?
Before we move on,
More than that.
$20.
before we move on, you know who shops at the food line in Ashland City?
You,
Me
me.
sometimes, and you, but my mother. And she has been shopping there for as long as I've been alive, or close to it. And today is Mama's birthday.
Yay!
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
She still looks so young. She's beautiful. She is a saint. Mama, happy birthday. I hope you're watching. Shout out.
And I hope you get yourself a treat at the Food Lion later today.
Austin should go get her one of those braided azaleas.
I would never.
You should get her one of each to
That's
put
an
on either
insult.
side of something.
Now, I'm going to get Mama something good from Bates Nursery today. She's going to be
Okay.
presented with something.
Better be nice. We're all going to
It's
be.
always gonna
We're
be
all
nice.
going
What
to
do
be
you mean?
watching and judging your.
We're
I
not
gave
judging.
Mama a really
By the
pretty
way,
orchid last year.
I love Food Line.
That's true, and isn't it blooming?
Oh yeah.
We all love Food Line.
Who doesn't?
We're
I used
back
to
to
paint
Food
food
Line.
lines
We
for a
can't
living.
Y'all, come on.
I worked at Food Lion when I was from like 15 to 17. I worked at Food Lion, y'all. And then they were so sad when the store closed because they told me they had big plans for me.
Oh,
And I said, I'm going to take the severance package. Thank you. I'm
Well,
not trying to
out of here.
and now you're here.
You had
And
a
now I'm
severance
here.
package at 17 years old?
Yeah, it was going to be like $220.
Ooh.
And I took
wow.
that check. I said, give me that check. I'm moving on. But we do have another question about
Okay.
planting under trees. And
Okay.
this time it's a hackberry. Ooh.
The worst.
Sorry about that.
The worst.
Planting tips for under hackberries. Will a Japanese maple do okay? How about hostas? It's all going to get covered and stuff.
It is. That's you're exactly right. I mean, both of them would probably do fine up underneath a hackberry tree. I'm not saying that, but like Caroline just said, hackberries have a hackberry woolly aphid, which
They
is
get-
a
They
little
get
insect.
poo. Yeah, everything under them gets poo on 'em.
Everything under them gets messy. If you've ever parked your car up underneath a hackberry, you know this. The windshield gets covered with this sooty mold, and it's not good. So
It's terrible.
Well, specifically the aphids poop, and it's called a dew.
honeydew,
Honeydew.
yes.
And then that is on your car or your Japanese maple or your hostas.
Yeah.
And
Or
for
your
a-
grass.
Or you,
your
you stand
lawnmower.
under there for a long time.
and for about a day or two, say mid-June, you look under the hackberry, you're like, "Well, those are sparkling," and then you get home and it looks like death because they're all covered in black soot.
It's this black sooty mold. He's right. And if you're gonna plant hostas are leafy. We don't grow them for the blooms. We grow them for the leaves typically, and they're gonna be covered with this black sooty mold.
So what should they put under a hackberry then?
What they should do is cut down that hackberry.
Hackberry if you can.
Yeah, I mean, hackberries are pretty trees. I hate to say it, but I mean, they're
No,
pretty.
they're not.
Yes,
No,
they are.
Now,
Big established hackberries are beautiful trees.
I had multiple big established hackberry trees when I lived in Madison, and I was not thrilled.
Well, you probably weren't thrilled because you had to own them and your stuff was under them.
You had a constant
And it was
supply
annoying.
of kindling.
But I didn't
So,
even know what it
okay.
was.
But they're pretty. They really are. They're
Gnarly
big,
bark,
broad,
yeah.
branching trees. It looks like a leopard should be hanging out in one of them or something. Like they're majestic. They're just
At the proving grounds,
dirty.
There is a tree line that is on the adjacent property, and Mr. Wu, the legendary Tamukiyama Japanese maple, is
Yes.
planted in that
Yes.
kind of a zen
Yep.
yin
Yep.
garden. It depends on the year.
Sure
I think
it does.
that
Now, what happens is if it's a really dry year, the aphids are usually bad
Right.
because the more water a plant gets, the healthier a plant is, the more it's able to fend off
Exactly.
insects anyway. And so,
but he
yeah.
does fine. He's been there a long time. So I mean,
Yeah, and we're not saying it can't be done.
Right.
But
Oh, it's,
certain-
You just
and
gotta
the
know
thing
it's gonna
It's
happen.
probably never ever going to kill whatever you
No,
put there.
no.
It's just going to be you're going to have to deal with that.
and kind of clean it, to
Yeah.
hose
And-
out there.
and if you want to have a Japanese maple underneath your hackberry, you should have a Japanese maple underneath your
right.
hackberry.
Should.
And
I love Japanese maple.
who doesn't really? I mean,
That's true.
I
I haven't met a person who doesn't love it.
I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
There's one person out there in the world that does not like Japanese maple. All right, but you know something that is bad that
What's
probably
that?
not a lot of people like, but I do think they're kind of cute. June bugs. June bugs always attack my 4 o'clocks. Is there a pollinator-friendly spray? I have found nothing
For June bugs,
to keep them
no,
away.
it's too big of a. What you have to do is get rid of the grubs, which are
Right.
in the ground.
Which you can't do naturally except for maybe milky spore.
Milky spore, and the thing
Takes a
is,
long
also,
time.
are you going to milky spore your neighbor's yard and your neighbor's yard and your neighbor's yard? Because,
In the middle of the night, yes, you are.
well,
Exactly.
I mean, milky spore
Is
is
not
not cheap.
cheap.
So, if you're going to be that, generous to your neighbors, sure.
And it takes a while to get established, as
Yeah.
well, because it's a natural.
Right.
So-
It's a biological. It's a bacteria that gets in the soil, and as the grubs eat it, they can't digest it, and so it kills them. But then their corpse produces more of the bacteria as they decay. So it does take about 3 years for it to really start to build up in the soil.
That's a long
Tyler.
time. I'm sorry, I squeaked.
I hadn't heard you much this morning, and then you came right in.
Well, that's the problem. And two, the problem with spraying stuff is 4 o'clocks are in bloom. Okay,
Yep.
whenever the June bugs are actively eating them. So what else is visiting
Pollinators.
pollinators?
Now, I'm wondering if
yeah.
it's actually June bugs and not Japanese beetles.
Okay, so we need to differentiate.
Yeah.
So there are such thing as June bugs. So they're different than Japanese. Japanese beetles come out first. They come out before, and they're a little bit smaller than June bugs, and they've got more coloration. June bugs are those really big beetles that are like straight up metallic green.
And fly right into your head.
Yes, they'll fly into your head. They're big dumb beetles. Not to be
Austin.
confused with dung beetles.
Austin, they're just big, okay?
No, they're
Don't
big
be
and
so
dumb.
harsh.
They're pretty stupid.
They will
They're-
run right into you. But yeah, like I said, those do actually come out in June, and they're just as they're not just as bad as Japanese beetles. Japanese beetles seem to be more prevalent, or there seem to be more numbers of them. But June bugs do just as much damage, and they certainly do damage to 4 o'clocks. But like I said earlier, if you start spraying that stuff, you're going to be killing bees, and you don't want that.
Nope.
We do not want
No.
that. So, unfortunately, as gardeners in Middle Tennessee specifically, we have to be okay with a little bit of damage sometimes. All right, we just do.
I have a lot of damage.
If you want to be friendly to pollinators,
Yes.
you're going to have to deal with insects.
Which you should be.
And if you want to be organic, you're going to have to deal with them.
Yes.
You're gonna have to.
Yes.
We have insects here, like millions of them.
You know, just speaking of the grubs that we were talking about, like how those come out, you were telling me a really cute thing the other day that I think your middle child can ID the grubs in the ground, right?
Marmar? Oh yeah, Marley.
That's
My
crazy.
4-year-old. Well, I was
got little
digging some
plant
holes.
kids.
They were yeah, oh yeah. They were helping me plant trees the other day. Helping me plant trees. No, they were doing great. But yeah, little Marley, my 4-year-old, she's wild. She loves grubs. She loves earthworms, bugs, whatever.
Juicy worms,
She'll
man.
grab anything. She's hilarious. Everybody loves Marley. And she was just picking out Japanese beetles, grubs. You can tell them. So go out and dig a hole for a tree right now, and you'll see,
Yeah,
grub, white,
they're
nasty
white,
grubs.
milky.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
kind of yuck.
Yep.
But that's what they are. So, if you dig a hole, you pull some of them out, it'll help you a little bit.
You could use them for bait. For
Yeah.
fishing.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, imagine hooking those things.
Mm.
I don't go fishing though.
It's no different than a. It's
I
no
don't have
different
the
than
patience.
than a
Easier than a
worm.
worm.
It would be easier to worm, yeah.
And again, that's why I don't go fishing. Multiple reasons.
We have a question on the Facebook page. If
We have some Bates page questions too.
very good. Joan is asking. Her backyard has several areas where there is no grass, therefore a muddy mess. I have 2 white Scotty dogs. Not a good combo. Would sod in those areas be best?
If you got sun,
If you have sun, yeah.
If you have sun,
There's a reason, though, why the grass isn't growing, I'm assuming.
because it's got 8 little feet running all over it all the time.
It
Yeah.
might be wet. It
Yep.
might be shady. I mean, shady and wet's no good for grass, typically. It's pretty good for moss.
and it sounds like it could, especially.
Moss would be an option too.
Oh, sure, in
Yeah.
the shade.
Yeah.
Or it's just it's really hard as far as turf goes in the shadier spot. But even if it's not shade and you have 2 big dogs running all over it, it's going to be hard.
Well, these Scotties, they're medium sized, probably 20 pounds a piece. But I mean, when you have 8 feet pounding that ground,
Well, now
compacting
here's
it,
what
yeah.
what I'll recommend then. If you got to have a grass that repairs itself really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say a word that's probably foreboding in most places.
Mm.
Oh no.
Oh no,
Bermuda grass.
Gotta have sun for it too, though.
that's pretty
if,
bad.
If you have sun,
Yes.
and you have dogs, and you have, it's the only grass that's going to recover quick enough. Maybe because zoysia is also rhizomious, but it doesn't recover as quickly.
No.
I had 8 little feet running in my yard for years and years and years. We used to take mulch and put it in those areas where they would beat it down.
Oh, sure.
And the byproduct of it is they really like that, almost like a cat likes a cat box.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay?
So you know where the bombs are going to be. They're over there in the mulch. Gotcha.
What about
For the most part.
What about pine straw?
That's
Pine
what
straw's
my
okay.
mom does for muddy areas.
Yeah.
And it's probably like 3 feet layered now. It's crazy.
Just slowly breaking down.
Yep. It's
Yep.
not that layer, but it's pretty soft.
All right.
Very good.
On
Very
the
good.
Bates page.
On the Bates page.
Yep. We got a couple people asking about lavender.
Oh,
And
Well, we got some in
Really?
studio.
Wow.
we do,
Okay.
right in front of it. This is it Primavera or Phenomenal?
It looks like Primavera to me.
There's 2 kinds.
And there might be Phenomenal too.
it looks,
Oh, and we
looks
got some
phenomenal to me.
hit
but-
cut blue.
We brought some scented plants in today.
We did.
Oh man, my nostrils are afire.
Yeah.
Tea olive behind
Tea
me.
olive, lemon trees.
Yes.
So what were the
lavender.
questions?
Yeah,
Todd?
Tyler, get to those questions.
Okay, so this is crazy because one person is asking what's the best lavender from Middle Tennessee. Another person is living in the Caribbean and is asking what is the best lavender there. They're having problems with seeds and cuttings in the Caribbean. So
In the Caribbean.
Well, I would imagine you could grow any lavender you wanted to there. I mean,
I would think.
just with your climate there. Here, Phenomenal probably is the best one. Cold hardy wise and everything else.
It's
I
our
would
best.
wonder what island we're on.
I know.
It really would be interesting because some of them are mountainous,
That's very true.
some of them are volcanic,
Yeah.
some of them are
Well,
coral.
here's another thing you can think about though. So, because lavender is native to the Mediterranean.
Yes.
So
Try to mimic
you
it.
try to mimic that. Yeah.
So-
So
so
Good luck.
dehumidifier in the
Arid,
tent.
yeah, arid.
Cover it with the-
Arid,
Dry it out.
They really don't like wet feet at all.
No.
It's
Not at all.
good.
yeah. Hey, speaking of the Mediterranean,
Yes.
we haven't talked about this in a while.
Okay.
I still have my olive tree outside in a
you?
pot, fully leafed. Nothing's wrong with it.
Mine's outside as well.
It
Wait,
is perfect.
Did you leave it out last night?
Yes. And all nights through this winter.
Yeah, the only
minus
time-
Bum, bum.
minus the Arctic.
Did
Blast.
you moved it
You
then?
brought it.
Right?
I did. I
Oh,
put it
okay.
inside the home at that point.
And what
Okay.
happened? What did
it
it
almost
do?
immediately, we've talked about this, but it almost immediately started dropping leaves inside my home. And people want to bring our olive trees inside the house. It's like this trendy Instagram thing.
It's the new fiddle leaf.
It
fig.
is. And people bring olives in their home. And what do? They drop their
Defoliate.
leaves.
They drop.
They
their
hate
leaves.
it. They hate that dry air in our homes. I don't know what it is, but like I said, I moved it back out after that Arctic blast, and I have not touched it since. It's literally just sitting out in the open, and it is beautiful.
Are you going to plant it?
I am going to plant it.
Are you
I mean, maybe it's
in the next decade?
I don't know. I got like 10 plants I need to plant. It's not like
Well, then do one a year, and it'll be in the
There
next
you
decade.
go. No more plants until you put all those in the ground.
Listen, I'm an experimenter. I'm a scientist.
You are. You're
Okay.
plant scientist.
Well,
That's true.
I'm trying to see how cold hardy this olive is, and it's very cold hardy.
It is. I wish you had
It's-
left it out during the freeze, but no, I don't. It would have died. Never
it
mind.
Probably would have died.
I
It's
had,
the
immediately regretted saying that.
it's Arbequina.
Well,
I think that's the one I have.
You know who's going to have some olives if people want to try it?
If they really want to have them.
Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
3810 Whites Creek Pike.
We've got them.
We got
We're
'em.
actually getting a bunch in next week as well.
They're in
So a
flower right
fresh
now.
Shipment.
I just saw them yesterday in Caroline's greenhouse. They are flowering.
They are.
And
Come
as
get you an olive.
we mentioned earlier, we just got in some blueberries and already had some before we got those. So
And lavender.
and lavender.
Plenty. We got a
Indeed.
lot of lavender.
Got things with buds on it over here in the corner.
Yeah, that's citrus over there. Looks like.
That's a
Lemon.
lemon. And we
Okay.
wanted to Caroline give them the tell them.
They smell great.
Happening. Well, yeah, they smell great. But tell them what we talked about yesterday. We brought 2 citrus in here.
We did.
What's
so
the
one
difference?
behind, right above Adam's head, has its leaves on it. If Adam will, yes, thank you, Vanna. Point out that beautiful tree, and it has a lot of buds on it as well. But the buds are kind of hidden by those leaves. Now, if we look at the one behind Tyler,
we get it?
Tyler
Can we
can
somehow do that?
Come on, Tyler.
Come on, Tyler.
Did you just fall over?
Did you break it?
No, I'm okay. We're good.
I think you just bought a citrus.
I
Bud.
couldn't see.
He bought it.
So here's another one. So they tend to defoliate in the winter. That's happened with mine before.
What's going on?
So all of the leaves fell off. It got stressed. That one actually has a little bit of root damage, I think, which might have caused
Definitely
it.
does now.
Oh, Tyler.
That's why I tried to grab it.
Well,
and it
last
pulled out of
week
the
you
pot.
killed a mangave. This week you're taking out a lemon. But I kind of like the look of that one better. So it's got all of its buds. It's blooming out. It reminds me of a cherry tree that's blooming in the spring. So those beautiful blooms aren't
a Meyer?
obscured by those leaves.
Is it a Meyer?
I think it is.
It's actually a navel orange.
Oh, oops, oh my God, Caroline. Shame.
But still,
That's
we
a
brought it
Valencia
in
orange,
to-
not a lemon. But they're
Well, I
similar,
mean-
very similar.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, limes and lemons are basically the same plant, right?
Basically,
Yes. Genetically, they're almost
So-
no different. Yeah. But we wanted to bring it in to let people know if your citrus tree decides to drop its leaves over the wintertime, don't freak out. Look at all those buds and
panic.
flowers. I mean, it's still got a lot of energy to put towards that fruit. My mother has got, shout out Mama again.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Her lemon tree she's had for years now, and it's almost leafless right now. Like, it doesn't have a lot of leaves on it, but it's full of flower buds, and she's okay with that. She understands that that's what happens. And then spring comes around, more sunlight, more warmth, put it outside, and it'll regrow leaves. It happens. Don't expect perfection all the time, especially with indoor plants.
Plants aren't perfect.
Does she
They're
does she
alive.
pollinate it?
No.
She she gets fruit?
Yes, we get
Oh,
fruit
wow.
every year. Oh, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I remember last year we made drinks. Didn't we, Mama?
Um,
We sliced it up. The lemon was great.
Oh, I bet it was.
They smell so good. I mean, whenever, living in Middle Tennessee, you don't get to see citrus very often. I mean,
No.
I've seen it.
No, you don't.
I've never seen it here. I mean, I've seen it down in like South Texas, I remember, was the first time I saw orange trees, which was cool.
If you count flying dragon.
I have one in my house,
Yeah.
the flying dragon.
Yes, I got that
I
one
killed
too.
mine.
Oh boy.
Way to go.
Great. Like, why?
Oh boy.
Why did I kill it?
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think
mean
that
to. I
was
kept
rude.
it in a pot.
Caroline likes to haze her plants before
do.
they go in
I'm
the
a
ground.
plant hazer.
And then if they make it,
You're
they
a
get in the ground.
scientist. I'm a hazer. I'm like, can you deal with my neglect? No? Then you don't deserve a spot in my yard. Hey, we still have a lot of questions. So let's
And
get
we've got a
back
show
on
and tell
track.
thing that we need to get to too.
And
Okay.
and Bates.
Let's get one question in while Josh pulls up show and tell. Tyler, do you have some live questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead and get them going.
Why do people not like Leyland Cypresses? New to Tennessee, and I like their look.
Okay. Specifically, well, we just saw what happened this December. They're not as cold hardy as you might think they are. And number two, they get a canker disease that is in the air. There's no way you can keep it from getting them eventually. At some point, you could have them 25 years or 5 years. They're going to get that disease, which what it looks like is a limb at a time will die until finally there's nothing left. So
Big brown chunks that you have to kind of, and you can live with that for years. I talked to a guy actually down from Ashland City, and he says he's had Leyland Cypress for the past 30 years, and he's suffered from that disease pretty much every year. But what he does is goes in, cuts out those limbs, and just deals with it. I mean, they regrow. We give Leyland Cypress a bad rap because we're in this business and we've done this for a long time, but Honestly, it's not that bad of a plant. As a screening plant, it does a job pretty well. But like Adam said,
Fast
you're
and big.
probably going to see
Yes.
some issues.
Yes,
so
you
just
will.
And
be
there
okay
are
with
better
that.
choices for the same amount of money.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
What else?
Uh,
What we got?
Get it, Tyler.
Dude,
Wayne says, I treat my hackberries with imidacloprid each spring to prevent aphid infestation. It has
Well,
worked.
I'm glad he said something.
Worrying about that.
I almost mentioned it before. And good luck finding that chemical in the future, because they're trying to get that stuff off the market because
it kills the bees.
it kills pollinators.
Like bad. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's already banned in the UK.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even for sale.
It's getting
there.
close here.
Yeah.
too.
I think by 2020. No, it's already past that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah, I mean, I almost said something when we were talking about hackberries. They will keep it'll keep the
Yep.
aphids off, but
Absolutely.
Oh,
at
that chemical kills everything.
at the expense of killing every other bug.
Every bug there is. It's the harshest, stoutest chemical on the market by far.
So,
But it
word
works.
of caution. And then, do you carry purple smoke trees? A Bates Nursery question. Yes, we absolutely do.
Of course.
Several varieties too.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
Yes, we also have green smoke trees.
Really?
as well. Yeah.
And a gold one.
Yeah. Or I guess you could call it a gold one. But
Yeah,
it's
that
kind
one's
of green
pretty.
gold.
That
There
one's
is
the
green
prettiest.
too. The native
Yeah.
one. The
Yeah.
native one's green.
I
Yeah.
want one.
Yeah, I know
Birthday's
you-
coming up.
Y'all be careful with
out
the
there.
smoke trees. Don't put them too close to your house.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it
They
right
get-
beside my house.
You go right ahead and then
Get-
see what you get.
right under my window.
Big.
They get big quick.
Yes.
Yep.
Man, they're fast.
Fast grows. All right, Josh, do you have your photo to throw up?
I have a person on top of that he's going to bring.
Oh,
there
wow.
it
How about that?
Can we zoom out just a bit?
Zoom out.
folks?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Because
Order up.
to set the stage here, my youngest baby girl, Erin Kimberly Carey, got a new job in Nashville, so she's going to have to move back home for a couple of months while we find a apartment that is affordable. So she might be there forever, but she is my plant baby. So she brought these with her, and as I've often talked, our house is not really set up for indoor plants. This is probably the best spot we've got. But even at that twin 3046 old-fashioned wood window, there are big tulip poplars out in front of it. So
not much light getting in there.
and there's another one on the side. But we live in a neighborhood that has got big established trees. Caroline, what do you think?
I think it looks great. They all look happy. I mean,
That's the
nothing
first
looks
day
like
they were
it's
there.
For
summer.
now.
Oh, they haven't been there for long.
No.
My
That's
advice
okay.
would be just don't water them a lot. If they're not getting a ton of sunlight, they really don't want to sit wet.
Yeah.
Well, we told Mama that Aaron would be in charge of watering, and I'm to stay away from that as well.
Oh, you're not allowed to water.
No,
That's
I'm
a
not
good
allowed.
thing.
One waterer.
Yeah.
No
That's true.
multiple
because
waterers.
because you don't want to have cross people watering and then
Now, Mrs. Carey is very concerned about kitties eating on some of these. Should she be?
On some of them, yeah, it just depends. A lot of houseplants are going to be mildly toxic, which just means if they eat it, they'll probably vomit a little bit. The ones to stay away
How
from,
would
which
you
I
know?
don't
Cats do
see
that
any
anyway.
poisonous plants
Yeah.
in there. But the peace lily, the spathiphyllum that is on the ground, can be slightly toxic, and that's probably the one the cats.
Well, it got moved out.
At.
It
Okay,
got moved.
so that's a good thing.
Yes.
Probably depends on the cat.
Yeah, it depends on the cat. The
My
stromanthe, the one on the
Her
bottom,
cat
is
doesn't
okay.
bother anything because we have 2 kitties at the house too now. So I mean, one she brought with her, but he doesn't bother him. The other one was very curious because she's never had them in her house before. So
I mean, they've got to be fun to play with. If you were a little kitten
Oh,
batting those
man.
leaves, I mean, come on.
That's
and
true.
you can get up there
Shredding
on all
them.
those shelves and move things around
and knock them
things
over.
off.
Yeah.
You
I
what
know,
my
Adam,
cat-
you and Rachel battle that. Sorry. I cut
No.
you off.
Well,
Okay.
no,
My cat.
she does the battling. I don't do any of the battling.
When it comes to my indoor plants, my cat's way more annoying about getting in the soil area and like laying around the plants. She
that's
doesn't
cool.
eat them or anything, but she'll get in there and just lay on the soil. Like you said about the kitty litter earlier, like she just likes to like scratch up the dirt and lay on top of it.
Okay.
Did she ever
So-
kill your plants?
No.
Didn't she knock over Macaulay's finale once?
Yeah, she did.
You didn't know if it was the cat or a child, though, I think.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Who knows?
Okay.
those in that
We'll
house.
quickly take a tour on your table because we haven't talked about what you've got over
so
there
I
today.
did do a webinar, Hardy Houseplants, where I talked about low maintenance, harder to kill houseplants. And so this was what I talked about on the webinar. So if you want to learn more about the plants on this table, or you want to get some houseplants that aren't hard to kill, I would say tune into that webinar, which is archived on the Bates Nursery website and
YouTube.
Facebook page.
It
It will
on
be on
YouTube.
It'll be on YouTube in
Soon.
a few days.
very, very soon. But yes, these are all of my favorite low maintenance houseplants, in my opinion.
Nice.
So yeah. Okay. So do we have any more live questions before we dive
No,
into
let's
our
hit
Instagram?
let's hit the leftovers.
Let's hit Instagram hard. When should I plant wildflower seeds for a wildflower garden this year?
Soon.
Yep.
Very soon. If not now, and you
Yep.
know I've talked about this. As long as you can keep those seeds where you drop them,
Yeah, because you're going to deal with birds too.
yeah. I mean that's the thing.
getting
But honestly, it's getting to be about time. Or just sow them whenever the weather is fine. You know, those packets that you get will tell you like when they germinate. So if you do that whenever the weather is warm enough, say like April 15th, which is our typical time to sow stuff out date. If you do that, then those seeds will typically germinate within that same period that it says on the seed packet. If you drop them now, they're going to wait obviously until that weather warms up, and then they're going to germinate at that point. But if you want to wait till early spring, whenever you're putting out your tomatoes and peppers and all those other good things, that's fine too.
I've started sowing some in my fancy new garden beds. All right. How and when do I prune young crape myrtles? 3:30.
Okay. Yeah. When is now, so
Yep.
we want to go ahead and get that done. How to do it is a little bit loaded. I mean, I can. For me, it's a multi-trunk plant, so you want to get to like 3 to 5 stems that you want to keep them at a vase shape growing, and then you want to tip prune the top of the plant. That'll just make more stems and it'll produce more flower buds. So don't go crazy on it. Don't just chop it in half or anything, but you do want to lightly trim from the tip down just a little bit.
And by crazy, he means don't do what he does with a sawzall and crepe myrtles.
Yeah.
With one hand stretching up off
Yeah.
of a ladder. Don't do that.
Well, it's a young crepe myrtle, so hopefully it's small. Mine's getting kind of big, but yeah.
I like them bushy myself.
See, that's the thing. There's different pruning techniques.
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk about this all day. So if you really want me to get in depth, come out here and see me. But there's a lot of different pruning strategies. But those are kind of what I think is the way a crepe myrtle ought to look.
All right. Does rhubarb grow well here? And by here, we mean we are in Middle Tennessee in
Middle
Zone
Tennessee.
7.
And no, not really.
No.
I've never
it really
grown
doesn't. It's a little hot for rhubarb. I know my grandmother in Pennsylvania grew rhubarb really well. It's a northern plant more so than it is here. Now, I'm not saying it won't grow, or you can't find that spot where it might grow for you fine.
Well, and usually what we mean by too hot is we mean there are too many days above 90 degrees or
Exactly.
85, whatever it is they have on that heat chart. Mm-hmm. So, because, Pennsylvania gets hot there too, but for not as
definitely.
long
Exactly.
as here.
Definitely. So it's, maybe like an afternoon shade environment. Maybe try to find that. Because like I said, you can grow rhubarb here. You really can, but it will just see, it doesn't do as great as it would up north.
I feel like it's the same thing as sweet peas, which we
thing.
discussed
Yep.
a couple weeks ago.
Same thing, yep.
All right. Do I need to shake my potted fiddle leaf figs like the TikTok people say I do? So this is kind of a trend. You can.
Wait.
There's all
hold on.
kinds of stupid stuff
There-
going on.
what do they
on
mean by
TikTok.
this?
For my
So, come
generation,
on
it
now.
was shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Yeah.
So you
I
could
was
put
gonna
that
say-
song and you could shake it.
And
What do
Um,
they mean by this?
So there are videos trending, and I actually heard this before TikTok. Vanessa, who I love, used to work here at Bates Nursery. We had talked about how some nurseries will put their Ficus lyrata in front of big fans, so the plant kind of goes wild, and that's supposed to help strengthen the trunk and give a thicker trunk and a better root system. Now, I don't shake my plant. So now TikTok has a couple videos where people are like shaking up their fiddle leaf figs. My fiddle leaf fig is doing fine, not
I like
being
the
shaken.
dog on the skateboard.
The
better.
idea is that
Look at us.
I know.
This is incredible.
In nature, the wind blows them around and it causes
Yeah,
them
but
to
Or
be stronger.
didn't you just say they don't like a draft?
Yeah, I did say that.
mean,
they're like I said, they're the worst plant. They're not the worst plant, but they're pretty bad. Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I would say.
Let's just be honest.
Austin, don't be so upset. You got to get on TikTok. You got to do what the kids are doing. You
No,
got to
I'm
get
not
on
doing
the
that.
internet.
I'm not. Me and Mom have been growing a fiddle leaf fig for how long now? Like 8 years, and I've never shook the
Well,
plant.
maybe she shakes it and you don't know.
She doesn't shake it.
Sue, tune in. Tell us if you do.
She's tuned in. I know it.
Tell us if you shake that. Fiddle
She
leaf fig.
doesn't shake it.
But like I said, I don't shake mine. I don't shake the ones here at the nursery. I wouldn't say you need to shake them.
The French
I think
bulldog
they're
on the
okay
skateboard is the
by
best.
them.
though.
Yes.
Josh
They're
wants to
real-
talk about this French bulldog.
Oh man, it's amazing. He zooms in and out. It must be real. It's on TikTok, right?
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah.
It's
There's
on
no
the
way it can't
TikTok.
be.
We have,
Quick.
yeah.
Tyler, do you have a question?
No. We just have 1 minute.
Would pink muhly
One
grass
of them
do
must.
okay here, or is it too humid? And also, do you sell it? Yes, we sell it.
And it
we
does
talked
great.
about it a little bit earlier on the
I'm
show.
gonna try it this year.
He does okay. Hit or miss.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
All right. Muhly grass is so pretty that I guess it is worth a shot, but it is hit or miss here. It definitely is. Sometimes it comes. I mean, a lot of times it comes back, but sometimes it comes back like halfway, and it's like
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
So make sure when you plant that you get it in well drained soil. It does not like heavy clay. It really needs to be well drained.
Rounded
so,
up.
Yes.
Yep.
So make sure your hole's good on that one.
And plant them in masses.
Huh?
What likes to grow between stones and a garden path? It's like we're wrapping
I
back
thought you
around
asked that
That was the
already.
very
I
first
did
question you
not
asked.
ask that already.
Seen moss too.
I'm not going to spend time going back and asking. It was not that same question.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it
Was the exact same question.
Wow, Caroline,
My
double
God.
down.
You know, I was just testing you guys. All right. Can my full
got
moon
ears.
Japanese maple be planted near a black walnut?
I think maples are. This is a really good question because black walnuts produce a chemical called juglone, and they are not. That chemical kills a lot of plants, specifically like the Solanaceae family, which is like tomatoes and peppers.
Yeah.
And
It's actually acid, right?
Grass.
yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and it can kill a number of things. I don't think maples are on that list though.
No,
I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
they're
think so.
juglone resistant, or at
Yeah.
least juglone tolerant.
What about fruit trees? I have 2 pear trees that are very close to a black walnut tree, and all of a sudden they just died. One just fell over.
Well, how
Last
old
year.
are they though? I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're probably ancient.
They're just old.
that's what I was about to say. Yeah, they're. I mean, they've obviously been living under it for a long time.
They're
now.
old timer trees.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oldies.
I'll fall over one day
What
just
goodies?
like that. Oh, last question, y'all. We did
Okay.
it. What hellebore varieties and colors do you have in stock? A
Boy,
lot.
howdy.
like
We have
200.
a house
Yeah, too many to
full
list
of
right
them.
now, but a lot.
So you'll have to come see us. Actually, I think Tyler put a video up of just kind of a sampling of some of the hellebores
It's-
that we got in last week on the Bates Instagram page.
It's an Instagram reel, and it was a little romantic and fluffy because those flowers
Aw.
are great.
It's
So,
like you, Tyler.
gorgeous.
Romantic and fluffy.
on that note,
Okay.
Here we go.
All righty, folks.
Bye, everybody.
The big
Thanks
guy
for-
will be
thanks
back
for
next
coming.
week. David will be with us next Saturday
Yes.
morning. Thank you for sitting in for him, Adam.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you guys
My
for being
pleasure.
here. Thank all of you for joining us on for the At Home Show. It is a Saturday morning tradition. It's been coming to you for parts of 2 centuries, 2 millennia, and 4 decades. That spans 25 years. So thank you again for putting up with us, and we like to have a little bit of fun, maybe give you a little information. We'll see you next Saturday morning at